Hey everybody, if you ever wonder what goes on when a loan ends, well, I'm about to tell you a little bit about what happens when a loan ends. Because I've heard people talk about Brendan Keirnan, which has just left Grimsby. It got announced today that he has gone back to his parent club of Walsall. And I've seen people say on social media, was that Paul's decision? Was that Brendan's? Or was that Walsall's? Alone, it depends on the loaning club. At the end of the day, Brendan Keirnan was here at Grimsby till January the 21st. That was the last day of Brendan's loan. As of midnight on the Sunday morning, he had to go back to Walsall, technically. Town may have tried to extend his loan, I don't know. But if they hadn't agreed to that, and it could be down to discussions as well, who knows? We don't know the ins and outs, but basically what it means is that Walsall had the main say on whether Brendan went back to them or not. So, just briefly, that doesn't mean that he might not be coming back, because you never know, or you don't know with any loan. But this seems like the strongest loan we've had in a long while. But, playing 28 times for Grimsby, I don't know many loan players that do that, to be completely honest. But I think Grimsby has been told, no, you can't extend the loan. And Walsall are within their rights to do that. So if anyone ever wonders, it's never always the manager or the player. I do remember Paul saying in the last couple of interviews on Humberside that it is not strictly down to us whether we keep him at the end of the day, or keep any loan player. It is actually down to the hosting club. So the final say would have been Walsall's. If we hadn't agreed a deal to either extend the loan or permanent deal, he would have to have gone back. That doesn't mean that a transfer is dead when that happens. It just means that they have to go back to the club they are contracted under. Walsall have Brendan's registration. And because he is their player, they have every right to either sell him, loan him again, but I believe Brendan's contract is up in the summer. So I don't think a loan would be what Walsall would be looking for Brendan either. Because they could get him. Anybody could get Brendan on a free. So it's all up in the air. I personally would keep Brendan Keirnan if we could have done. You don't play a guy 28 times without liking him. The marriage doesn't do that. But like I said, just briefly, that is basically the long and short of it. Brendan Keirnan had to go back to Walsall because his contract, his loan deal expired midnight Sunday morning, so he had to go back to Walsall. And if Town want to pick up transfer negotiations, they have to go through Walsall. And if they don't want to, they just move on. But that is That is basically it. The final decision in the end was Walsall's, not Paul Hurst's. Paul had a say in it, of course he did, but he wouldn't have had the final say, because whatever Paul said didn't matter. The final say went to Walsall. So I just wanted to put a little video out there, because I did see people saying, did Paul let him go, or was it Brendan himself? It could have been a mixture of all three, but it basically comes down to Walsall. We couldn't agree, more likely a loan extension. So what they basically said is, no, we're not going to loan him anymore. He's our player. So watch his space in a way. Is the best thing I'd say. Watch this space, because I do feel like Paul, like Brendan. I'm not saying he's going to go in for him again, but with players like that, you never know. But that is basically what a loan means. At the end of the day, they probably had discussions, and Walsall haven't agreed to them. So but because they hold Brendan's registration, he has a contract, a permanent contract at Walsall, which runs till next summer. He has to basically he has to abide by that, and he has to go back. Same with Mike O'Neill. If Preston want, if they've got a callback clause, which I'd imagine with 6 months end of the season, they do. If they want to take Mikey back, they have the right. If it's written in the loan agreement, they have the right to call Mikey back, and there's nothing Grimsby can say on that, apart from try and strike a permanent deal. But if so, we'll take Mikey as the last example. He's Preston's player. He's not our player. We're only borrowing him for a certain amount of time. So Preston decided to let him come on loan for the remainder of the season. Whether they've signed an agreement where they don't call him back, I'll give you one perfect example on a loan deal, and then I'll go. Is basically when we signed Dean Henderson on loan in 2017. He signed a loan agreement. He signed a loan extension to the end of that season. He was gone a week later, because Manchester United were able to activate the release of the loan, the end of the loan, because they needed Dean Henderson back. We could question why, but because he's not our player, we have to abide. Clubs have to abide by what the loaning club or the parent club go by, and that's why I believe it was a week or two after he signed his loan extension that got cancelled. It was Manchester United that cancelled that loan, not Grimsby. Same as this one, because the loan with Brendan had finished. They probably had discussions with trying to extend it. I don't know, but they probably tried to extend it. Walsall have said no, so he's had to go back to his parent club. But he would have gone back Sunday morning. Latest would be Monday. So anybody that's in on loan, you don't have the final say on what happens to the player. You can inquire about players that you have on loan. You can try and make deals for players that are on loan, but you don't have the say, the final yep. So Paul, for example, Paul couldn't go, we're keeping Brendan. He could have said, we want to keep Brendan, but he couldn't turn around to Walsall and say, no, we're keeping Brendan. Because we don't hold his registration and he's not under contract. Same thing with Dean Henderson. That loan got cut short, even though we'd made the rearrangement of a loan extension, because Man U needed Dean back. They cut the loan short. So that's pretty much what a loan means. The final decision goes to the parent club. The loaning club, the one that's getting him on loan, can ask for an extension, or they can put a permanent deal in, or they can do nothing. But they can't turn around to the parent club and say we're keeping them, or we're not keeping them. Even with ones like Kiki and things like that, it would have been agreed with Birmingham and with Luton to send Bim and Kiki back. So that is basically how a loan works. No, Paul wouldn't have had the final say. Walsall will have done. And like I said, with the Dean Henderson loan in 2017, Man U cut that loan short. Even though it had been agreed for him to stay to the end of the season, he left 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks later. So, enough of me rambling. That is basically what a loan means. The final decision goes to the loaning club, so the parent club. If you enjoyed the video, do like and hit subscribe. So I'm back. But if you have any questions on any understanding of maybe how the loan system works or transfer system works, I'll try and help you understand a little bit more about what that means. But in the meantime, stay safe, everybody. I'll see you soon for another video. And yeah, any questions like that, leave them down below for me. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now.